Hey there, I'm back today to talk about getting ready for my second mastectomy. I'm having a prophylactic mastectomy in just a couple weeks, and I wanted to share kind of some of the things I've been more interested in getting ready around this time around. The first time around, I have a video of the things that I looked for and found and had in my bag going to the hospital for my first mastectomy. And of course, I didn't know what to expect, so I didn't know what to pack. So I packed everything that anyone had ever recommended on any of the Facebook groups and support groups that I was engaged in. And that included things like a wedge pillow and an extra long phone cord for the hospital and extra layers for the hospital and lots of things for the hospital. Well, I wasn't in the hospital for very long, and I won't be on this occasion. I know that my body is really healthy and strong. I don't expect to have complications. I don't expect to even spend the night once in the hospital. So I'm not preparing as much for the hospital this time around as I am for my own comfort, getting out of the hospital, coming back to my Airbnb. I'm going to be having my surgery out of my home city, so I won't be coming straight home. So I'll have comfort items for that first night away and the car ride home, and then things for back at home to make me comfy. And really, I have a lot of those first things that I had in my first video. The main things that I look back on and think, oh, I'm so glad I had those and I want them still, are little ice packs, like little round ice packs that fit just right over your breast area, and the comfy pajamas. I'll show you a picture here of the pajamas that I had the first time around and that I still have that I love, and I've looked for more of them since but can't find exactly the same thing, so I'll just use the two pair that I have. There are a lot of thinner ones, but this fabric I love. It's super thick. But it's a tank top and short, so it's nice and cool at the same time. One of the main things this time around that I'm looking for, that I never thought I would be looking for, is I had a really good kind of recovery plan with gabapentin and some anti-inflammatory herbal type supplements, boswellia and turmeric or curcumin. And I'll probably use the boswellia and curcumin this time around as well. But I'm a little more open to experimenting with some a little more controversial pain meds this time around. Again, I didn't have a lot of pain, so I had more like tightness and pressure. Not a lot of pain, I wouldn't say. It was more like that kind of the vice that you hear about people explaining, that the chest feels like it's kind of stuck in a vice that's being squeezed. So that's kind of the thing that I took gabapentin for the first time around. I also didn't get a ton of sleep during the first 48 hours after surgery. Gabapentin was not helpful for me for sleep. It is helpful for a lot of people for sleep, but for me it wasn't. So this time around I wanted to get a sleep aid, and so I've been kind of playing with CBD. And the first time around I actually did take CBD for sleep, and it didn't work. It didn't help me get to sleep. And so I went to, I live in Oregon, so we actually have legal cannabinoid stores here, not just CBD, but other cannabinoids, so other hemp and cannabis products. They're totally legal, and there's a lot of really educated vendors out there that you can talk to, as well as doctors, lecturing on this on the internet. So I've done some research and learned from some doctors and decided to go ahead and get some tincture of THC for sleep for after my surgery. I don't think I'll ever use it again, probably after that. But this little bottle was on sale for $10 at my local cannabis store. And it's got some varieties that I had never heard of cannabinoids. And mixed with CBD, the THC does not have a psychoactive effect. So I had no idea that that was the case, that if you mix THC with CBD, you don't get high. You don't have any of the psychoactive or intoxicating effects. Now, there are different strains of THC, which I didn't know before. There are like a number of, on a spectrum, a number of different calming versus inspiring or creativity inspiring variants of THC. And so you want to, if you're looking for sleep, you want to get the calming end of the spectrum. And the calming end of the spectrum is called indica. Indica is the calmer end, and sativa is the more inspiring or creativity inducing, very awake end of the THC spectrum. And I wasn't looking so much for straight THC, although this does have some THC in it, as much as something called CBG. And that is an anxiety aid and a sleep aid as well. And then something called THCA, which this has in it, which is an anti-inflammatory and, most key, a neuroprotective cannabinoid. So it protects your brain. And I'm very interested in neuroprotection because my family has a strong history of Alzheimer's and dementia. And this will be my 4th incidence of general anesthesia, which really kind of eats away at the health of your brain the more anesthesias you have. And I've talked a little bit of that about that in some of my other videos. I've never talked about some of the medical proof of that, so I'll let you look up and find that on your own. But I might put just 1 or 2 links to some of what Dr. Bredesen, my resource for research around the effects of anesthesia on the brain, has been from Dr. Dale Bredesen at UCLA. He's a researcher at UCLA. So yeah, I'm really interested in this THCA because it's neuroprotective and also anti-inflammatory, so will help the body to calm down and not be quite as in that kind of alarm state during the healing process. So again, I'm going to take this with CBD, with straight CBD, which I have a great source of. The source that I've been getting CBD for clients of mine for years now. And the brand that I have that I really respect a lot and that I've done a lot of research on, it's totally third-party batch tested, very pure, because you do have to worry about purity and cleanliness in CBD products because it is so saturated in across the world. Like it's not illegal anywhere, so it doesn't have to be tested by the local state authority that's bringing it into for sale in the stores. So it's not really moderated as much as like alcohol and THC are. So it can be really dirty and really toxic and can have a lot of mold in it, which is awful, and you would never want to take CBD to make you sicker. The whole point of it is to make you better. So anyway, the brand that I really like is called OjaiEnergetics, and I've been using their CBD product for many years. It's much more potent and much more pure. But again, I will never take THC in a way that it gets me high. I'm not interested in that. It's not a part of my culture or my background, and I will definitely always be taking CBD first, putting drops of CBD under my tongue before I put drops of this THC and THCA and CBG solution under my tongue. So that's been interesting to explore. It took me, days to really understand fully what the different components and cannabinoids do. And I wasn't doing that research for myself. Actually, it was for another family member that's been struggling with sleeplessness. So in the process of learning about all these different cannabinoids, I've decided to go ahead and give it a shot myself. And just because that shop that I went to happened to have this product on a very discounted price, I thought, $10 to try a little bit of this during my recovery if I need it, if I should need a sleep aid. And certainly I'll need the neuroprotective elements of it regardless of whether I need the sleep aid. So this is something I'm excited to have in my bag this time around. And I actually do need to still research whether or not I can take this into Washington State from Oregon, because I was learning from the vendor that I purchased it from. She said that everything has to be grown in Oregon and tested in Oregon in order for it to be sold legally in Oregon. I didn't realize that. So all the farms are in Oregon that grow the THC for Oregon to be sold in Oregon legally, because I guess the farms need to be also very highly watched and moderated by the OLCC. So I don't know if I can legally bring an Oregon product into Washington. I need to go back to that shop probably and ask, or look it up somewhere on the internet and find a reliable source for that information, because I definitely don't want to be breaking the law. maybe you know, and you can tell me in the notes below or comments below what you think about the legality of taking THC that's grown in Oregon as a consumer that's already bought it into Washington, even though THC is legal in Washington as well. So some of the other things that I'll be bringing is just my handy water bottle that has a straw that I can kind of just have it to suck on when I need water and not have to like spill water all over my face by dumping a water bottle into my face. Just some of those really handy things. I'm definitely not as hung up on having every little thing, every camisole and the right kind of bra. I definitely will be given a bra at the hospital for keeping pressure on my wounds for swelling, but I don't have a diet that's high in sugar, so I won't have a lot of swelling. So I'm not too worried about that. The only thing that really could go wrong is infection, and I can't control that myself, so I'll just have what I need to have available, and of course they'll give me antibiotics, additional antibiotics if that happens. So we will hope for the best. And I will check in again at 1 week prior to surgery to let you know how I'm packing my bag, what I'm bringing up to Seattle with me, how I'm getting ready. This time around I haven't been quite as focused on my own surgery prep just because I have had a family member that's been quite ill. So I'm focused more on that these days and taking it easy when it comes to my own surgery prep. So I might not do quite as many videos because of that in the prep days, but I'll definitely give you videos of the process and the outcome. I think I'm much more comfortable showing my scars and my body than I was the first time around with my first mastectomy. So if you've been following me since then, I'll have more candid scar photos probably this time around. I'm really, really eager to get this done. Not at all afraid of it this time. So it'll be a really good process, and I hope you'll come along and see how it goes. And I will see you next week at the 1 week prior to surgery point. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see that video, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.